Why is it, do you think, that the Democratic Party institutionally, kind of at the Debbie Wasserman Schultz level, apparently, has been so unwilling to allow the Democratic Party institutionally, again, in the form of, debates, to basically rebut the 25 million people now who have watched two cycles of a total of, 5 hours of Republicans, maybe 6 hours of Republicans throwing out, in some cases, in fact, in most cases, just flat out wrong talking points?
Yeah, it's party malpractice, in my opinion, and I'd express that with the chair, who I respect. But I think there's an instinct within the establishment of political parties. There's a tendency to calcify and to kind of circle the wagons, to fall back on old relationships instead of appreciating the truth that the American people are always looking for new leadership to move us forward. And the Republicans have now had two different rounds of debates, and let's not forget they get two whacks at the apple. They have some of the candidates on their B team go first, and then they have the candidates on their so-called A team go second. And that's a lot of unanswered falsehoods that people tune into. And we can't blame the American people. They're doing the responsible thing. They're trying to follow this debate and discern and figure out who's going to lead us forward after President Obama. But if they turned into the Republican debate, they would have heard a totally fictitious and false version of these last 8 years. They would have heard not one discussion about how we get wages to go up as a country again, which is the main issue that's on the kitchen table of families all across our country. How do we get our economy to work again for all of us? So I believe our party should be having more debates, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz should focus on running an offense for this party instead of circling the wagons in a defense. We should be having more debates. These Republican debates should not be going unanswered by us.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I think the proof of that is how much change has happened on the Republican side from debate to debate as a consequence of the performances that people put in the debates. Had you been visible, you and Jim Webb and Lincoln Chafee, who are pretty much invisible in the media these days, had you been on those, in those debate platforms, I think that there would be a whole lot more interest in the Democratic primary, and and a whole lot more visibility for you guys.
Well, I agree, and ultimately it is prevailing through a competitive primary process that actually makes our nominee strong for the general, whoever that nominee is. Well, as I've traveled across Iowa and New Hampshire, I mean, people, especially in Iowa, where I've spent most of my time, are relieved to know, frankly, that they have a viable alternative to this year's inevitable front runner. And they're coming out in larger and larger crowds. But when you look at the national news, all you ever see are the Republican candidates, Donald Trump, is racist, anti-immigrant bashing. And on our side, you see questions about email scandals, and you see a sort of binary. It's either the inevitable front runner, or it's the challenger from Vermont, for whom this would be his first Democratic convention.
Yeah.